Welcome to another episode of Behind the Bison, brought to you by West Fargo Events. You can find them at westfargoevents.com. It is Chris Hansen, along with the voice of the Bison, Jeff Culhane. And Jeff, NDSU now 2-0 on the season as we take our first road trip of the weekend, a road trip of the year for the Bison, to beautiful Carbondale.
Gorgeous this time of year. The weather, knock on wood, Hans, is going to be pretty good. That's right.
Mid-50s?
61 was the last check. Now, that was yesterday, so it could have certainly changed. But I think the weather's going to be good for February 27th with an outdoor spring football game. Right? And so NDSU, ironically, heads back to the place where they played their last regular season road game in November of 2019 against Southern Illinois. So we're heading back. The
Salukis coming off a rough game last week up at Grand Forks, and some injuries, a bunch of turnovers, just all around not playing well. Yeah,
it wasn't a good day, and their head coach, Nick Hill, came out in a post-game radio interview and said they don't have an indoor facility. So they've been at the mercy of Mother Nature during this period, and they had some really, really cold temps that made it tough for their guys to get outside. They'd only been outdoors together as a team twice in the last 2 weeks leading up to that game. Due to the COVID protocols in Illinois, they haven't been able to meet as a team together in one room, and so they faced some challenges just like everybody else has, and I think you saw the result of those types of things happening for them. So, they're not quite in football shape yet. This was a team I thought that was going to be a borderline playoff team. Now they
7-5 last year.
They got snubbed in 2019. Now they still might, but they're heading into a tough one this weekend, and I don't think they were expecting, obviously, to have that kind of result last week in Grand Forks.
You mentioned their head coach, Nick Hill, played at Southern Illinois, was quarterback, a very offensive-driven team, but he's 0-7 against top 10 FCS teams, and NDSU coming in as the number one team in the country, obviously. And how do you slow down what NDSU does, both offensive and defensively? How do you change what NDSU does?
Well, the big thing is you have to find a way to be as physical as they are, and returning what they have on the roster. I mean, many people thought that they could compete up front with guys like Xavier Furcron playing left guard, and Anthony Knighton at defensive end, and Keenan Agnew and those guys, Jordan Berner up front. Their linebacking core returned plenty of guys, but they've been hit by some injuries at linebacker, and they just have not been able to quite put it all together. And it's early in the year. I think it's still going to be a very, very competitive game, because now they know if they want to be in the playoffs, they got to win this one.
Yeah, 0-2 is not a good start.
You're in a really bad spot if you don't win this game if you're Southern Illinois. So I would expect them to be ready, and I think they know that last time they played North Dakota State, it was a competitive, close game where they felt like they were in it. So they've got some confidence there, and I think they'll have some sense of urgency on Saturday as well.
NDSU win streak at 39 games. Number 2 in D1 is 40 games by Washington back in 1908 to 1914. So a win this weekend would put them in second place all time for winning streaks. Number 1 is Oklahoma at 47, which would be attainable by the end of the year if this good fortune keeps going. But we'll get you out of here on this for Behind the Bison on westfargoevents.com. Most famous Saluki alumni.
Well, there's a lot of them. You got, I believe, Melissa McCarthy. Walt Frazier played basketball there. Those are two that are the first ones that jump off the page at me. Who do you got?
Well, I think the correct answer is here. It's a two-way tie. It's the guy who invented Dippin' Dots.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a real good one.
And Randy Macho Man Savage.
The Macho Man.
Also a Saluki. So there's your...
that's a big one.
Your alumni watch for the weekend. All right, kickoff noon.
Earlier kickoff, so set the clocks, set the alarms, the calendars, your tailgate alarms. Noon Central Saturday in Carbondale.
All right, it is the NDSU Bison looking to make it 3-0 on the season with a trip to Southern Illinois. Thanks for going Behind the Bison, brought to you by West Fargo Events at westfargoevents.com. For Jeff Culhane, I'm Chris Hansen. We'll see you again here next week.